Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we are going to discuss the energies of Pluto Retrograde in 2024. And this is a unique energy because Pluto begins retrograde at 2 degrees 6 minutes of Aquarius on May 2nd and travels back into Capricorn, the final 29 degrees of Capricorn, and stations direct October 11th, 2024. And so this energetic shift is quite significant for each of us individually as well as in the collective. So this is where we're going to dive into what is occurring for us with this retrograde cycle and how we can make the most of it so that you can see what is permanently and significantly ending for you in 2024. And that is a big theme here because as Pluto goes back to that last critical degree of Capricorn, there's something that you are closing out permanently because it's no longer connected to your new energy frequency, to your truth, to your empowerment journey. It's no longer an energy that's meant to go forward with you. But because Pluto is about alchemy and metamorphosis, there is a destruction here. There is a part of ourselves that we are working through that is quite intense and deep. So Pluto returns to 29 degrees of Capricorn. And it's interesting because it actually has two purposes where Pluto is showing you a chapter, an energy, a part of yourself that is permanently completing, while also bringing into those new open areas in your energy, the new multidimensional aspects of yourself that have been coming online as Pluto has been in Aquarius. So we're going to go through this more in today's show, but that's a general overview of how significant this particular Pluto retrograde is. So Pluto entered Aquarius on January 20th, 2024. Yes, Pluto was in Aquarius for a short period of time in 2023, but here in 2024, Pluto made it to 2 degrees of Aquarius. And from January 20th until the beginning of May, there were energies that were intensely working with us, and it could have felt really big for you, especially if these are degree points that Pluto is activating for you, specifically 0 to 2 degrees of the fixed signs. So the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Pluto is in new territory that he has not traversed yet in this lifetime. So Pluto is requiring these energies to go through a very deep but powerful transformation process. And during the retrograde in Aquarius, there is a revisiting of these same themes, but now it's looking at what you need to see in a different light, where you need to take responsibility for a part of your energy that is deeply changing. There's always responsibility here with Pluto, and it's responsibility to your current energy. It's responsibility to where you're going in the future. It's responsibility to your own growth. And this is where now you could understand this is what I am shifting in myself. This is what needs to change in me, which means you have to pull in and bring in new practices, new processes, perhaps a new perception or a new belief system. Something now needs to really land and be embedded into your energy so that you can be in control of your energy during this transformation. And that's really important because oftentimes Pluto cycles are so big and they feel like we're at the mercy of them that we can lose sight of the fact that we do have power. We do have a higher understanding, especially with astrology, of how to remain in our sovereignty and to work with these energies instead of working against them. So this is where you take inventory, take stock, assess. okay, this is what's come up for me, that Pluto is requiring growth and change. And now this is what I can implement. Or perhaps that's what you're asking. Maybe that's what's coming up for you. How do I make this change? How do I shift? How do I close out something in myself that is no longer meant to go forward? And perhaps it's simply asking those questions that opens you up to the answers. Now, this retrograde on a personal level is also opening up things for you to further own and integrate. And this could be something that you're seeing in yourself, that you're realizing you're capable of it, or this is a skill I have, this is a gift I have, this is something that I want to change and move into. I'm feeling this at a multidimensional level. That's where I'm receiving this energy and where I'm seeing these bursts of light beams coming through. I'm seeing it as new revelations, very fast moving insights. The Aquarius energy is one that moves at the speed of light. It moves so quickly that it's electrifying. Something within us can feel like it's coming alive at a whole new level in a whole new way, and it can be overwhelming. Keep in mind that Pluto in Aquarius is very different than Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto in Capricorn was denser, heavier, more about the process, sticking with something, doing it through and through, making sure you stay focused, you stay the course. That Capricorn energy is very much about tradition, as well as older systems that are continuing to deconstruct and decay, these older systems and structures that aren't part of our future trajectory or growth. There's also a part here of our world that is ending permanently, and we're not going to understand it fully this year. And that's because Pluto has to move away from a particular degree point until we start to see what remains, what is left. And even though Pluto is mostly in Aquarius, it's still working in Capricorn this year. Pluto re-enters Capricorn the beginning of September and stays there until November 22nd. So Pluto returning to Capricorn means there's more work to be done here. There's more that will be falling down and being dismantled. There are still parts of our life that are going to be permanently closing out and ending, that we won't fully understand or comprehend until 2025. The old world is falling apart. We know this. We've been watching, experiencing this. We're aware of it. And it also is directly related to the parts of us, the individual parts of us that are ascending out of that old world. And so as our energy shifts, it has an effect on these structures, on these things that we thought were perhaps timeless or tried and true. They were meant to go for eternity, right? For decades and decades. But that's never the case, especially at this time when Pluto's impact is so powerful. So we are changing, parts of us are deconstructing, parts of us are continuing to be dismantled this year in the Capricorn areas of ourselves. And we are seeing what we have outgrown. We are understanding more what we don't need, what perhaps we thought represented one thing. And now we're realizing this isn't a part of what I truly want for the future. In fact, it's not resonating with me and these new downloads and energy codes I've been receiving. There is very deep evolutionary growth here. And it's interesting because in Capricorn, the evolutionary growth happens slower. It plods along. It stays the course. It sticks to the path. And so there is a pacing in Capricorn that we've been experiencing since 2008, which is when Pluto first entered Capricorn. But then as Pluto has danced into Aquarius, things happen at a quantum speed. They're accelerating and happening out of the blue. So we're switching between these dimensional energy experiences. we're going to be pulling back into the plodding, slower energies of Pluto and Capricorn in September, October, and November. And it could feel like you have to, I was going to say backtrack, but it's more about slowing down to make sure that you're in alignment with that new pacing, even though you want to perhaps speed ahead and blast into a new reality. This is a year where we're closing out very big energies that require us to, it's recalibrate. That's the word. To recalibrate ourselves consciously and intentionally to make the most of it. Because with the Pluto energy, because it works so deeply, because it's reprogramming us so deeply, there's energies here that we could feel like it's easier to go faster. It's easy to be in that quantum state. In fact, you could feel like you are existing in more of those 5D frequencies. You're more multidimensional than ever before. And yet, one thing that Pluto is gifting us with is that it moves back into Capricorn, which is an earth sign and a cardinal earth sign. It's about allowing those multidimensional gifts and openings to now be further integrated into your physical reality and to direct it in a manner that supports you. So Pluto going back into Capricorn can be this wonderful opportunity to now ground in what has opened up for you in Aquarius, what has expanded you, what has taken you to new heights, new possibilities, but also shown you what you're ready to step into, ready or not. And that's the thing too about Aquarius, is that when things happen quickly, we can feel off kilter. We can feel like we've been thrown out of our normal reality, which we absolutely have. And so Pluto returning to Capricorn again, September, October, November, means that the Pluto retrograde is asking you to slow down something that has accelerated, to recalibrate so that you are in alignment with the completion work that Pluto in Capricorn is requiring of us. And I'm seeing this as a scene from a movie, and I'm not recalling what movie it is, but it's some kind of action adventure packed movie where there's a high-speed train going down the tracks and a vehicle is coming up next to it so that someone can jump from the vehicle onto the train. Maybe it's Mission Impossible, one of those movies, but it's almost like one of these really ridiculous things where the vehicle has to accelerate so fast and keep pace with the high-speed train in order for the character to jump successfully onto the train and to have that crossover. That's how I'm seeing the energy, except in reverse because of the retrograde. So it's like now you have to slow down, but keep pace with the energies and make sure that you're pacing what the cosmic cycle is revealing to you, because this energy is a place you've been before. The retrograde covers terrain that you've already experienced. And so it's pulling us back. And again, it's asking us to keep pace in a way that allows us to actively work with this retrograde and the energy shift back into Capricorn. And that's what makes this so rare, is that when, especially an outer planet retrogrades, it often doesn't change signs. But the fact that Pluto is going back into Capricorn is a big deal and is asking you to look at what are you deeply, truly clearing out so that by the time Pluto re-enters Aquarius, you are full speed ahead and fully on that high-speed train that is going to go off the tracks, and I see it going up into the air, sort of like a space shuttle taking off, and allows you now to reach new heights and new places in your energy that you haven't before. So something here is about allowing yourself to be so honest, so true, so real with yourself around what you know you've outgrown. And you could feel this deep transformation has been working with you since January of 2024, and that there are things here that you're seeing in a whole new light. You're over, you're complete, you're done with it, you don't have any resonance with it. There's something here at 29 degrees of Capricorn that you're going to be revisiting, and you're being asked to finalize it at a new level of consciousness and on your own terms. Now, that final degree of Capricorn wants you to be in your sovereign authority. It's the energy of, this is what I've declared. This is what is best for me. This is what I am choosing. This is what I'm committing to for myself on my own terms. This is also the very last earth sign degree in the whole astrological wheel. 29 degrees of Capricorn is the last earth sign degree. And that's really important here for something that's ending in your earthly reality. You're not going back to it. You're not recreating it. This could certainly be an ongoing shift in your career. Capricorn is the energy you put out into the world. And we typically understand that through our profession, our job title, our responsibilities in the world, what we have to manage and take care of. It's also about how we physically own ourselves based on what we've been through. Capricorn grows wiser and more mature through the years. And after living a number of years, there's things you understand about how the physical world works, how the 3D works. And I feel like there's some kind of pinnacle point here around understanding the 3D game, the game of power, the game of hierarchy, the game of responsibilities that others have, and even the game of roles. It's kind of like how we all have various roles in our lives, in different parts of our lives. So in your family, you have one role. At work, at school, you'd have another role. In your energy, in your private life, you have certain responsibilities and roles. And Capricorn is how we not only show up for those responsibilities that we have committed to, but it's how we then see them through and continue to develop our sovereignty and power in the real world amongst all these changes. And how I'm seeing this is a very interesting bridge that Pluto is opening up another bridge from 5D, which is Aquarius, back to 3D, Capricorn, going back into parts of your reality that you have to energetically close out or revisit. It also could be seeing it differently and from a more detached perspective. Because just as I was getting that visual of a bridge, 5D to 3D, which is reverse of what we've been experiencing, I'm seeing that some people actually cannot go back to 3D. I'm seeing these barbed wires and this gate where your energy cannot go back to where you've been. You can't go back to the 3D, but there's something you still have to energetically close out. As always, take what resonates and trust what is true for you. I'm just seeing this as there's one last thing. There's something else, and it will come up in September through November, but there's something else that has to clear out. It's sort of like when you move a house and there's that one box you forgot, or that one thing that you forgot was hanging on the wall. And so it's just a very brief re-entry, a very brief reconnection with a theme that you've been working through. And this theme first came up in early 2023. That's when Pluto first got to 29 degrees of Capricorn, was in February 2023. And in the second half of 2024, you are completing that. And as is the case with Pluto, it has to be worked through at a very deep level of your being, and it clears out the energetic coding that you've been holding. I'm feeling like it just won't resonate anymore, especially if you've been doing work, if you've been actively and honestly reprogramming yourself because of what this Pluto in Capricorn has revealed to you. And so even though Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius, it feels like the Capricorn energy is a bit stronger because of the fact that it's a mastery degree, 29 degrees, critical degree. It's a graduation. You're going back to graduate from something in the 3D that you've been working through. Your soul is closing it out. Your soul is already moved on to the next chapter. And it could also feel really inconvenient. Sort of like, ugh, why do I have to go back and take care of this? Why do I have to do this? I thought this was done. But there's always an intentional purpose, especially in Capricorn. So just know that even if you don't know why in the moment, there's something here that really needs to be closed out. But I feel like it's from a new place of your power. It's from a new place of empowerment, where if before it was too much, too intense, now there's going to be something that you're more detached from. And that's part of what Pluto in Aquarius has shown you. It's like, oh, I thought I was all about this, whatever this was, right? Where you're heavily invested in a particular job or industry or career, or there's something that you're passionate about and you're like, this is my life's work. This is my purpose. And now the energies have changed in such a powerful way that you could realize, no, it's not. That isn't my purpose, or that isn't the industry or the company that I want to stay with. That isn't a part of my external contributions in the world. Now I've been expanded. I've opened up to a new potential that I want it to work. I want the new to work, but there's something here that I have to end, even though a part of me already feels complete with it. And this is in the collective. So there's going to be even more people changing jobs, changing careers. There's going to be more industries shutting down, things that are no longer practical. They don't match what our daily life is. They don't sync up with even consumer demands or what people want these days. And so now I want to talk about these themes here of Pluto in Aquarius, because there's been a lot that Pluto is changing in the Aquarius areas of our lives. And we've already seen that. We've already had some insights into more of what that's going to be. So, for example, Aquarius rules air travel. How's it going, Boeing? Boeing has been under some intense scrutiny, as they should, for their manufacturing of planes. And that is a Pluto in Aquarius theme that we're going to continue to see, is how air travel will be changing, including the companies, the manufacturing, the technology involved. Everything about air travel is going to be transformed as Pluto moves through Aquarius from now until 2044. So keep in mind that we're going to have new inventions in air travel. Perhaps you've heard that they are looking to bring back supersonic air travel. There is at least one company that is looking to basically return supersonic flight for passengers, similar to the Concorde that was retired a few decades ago. But that is one area where commercial air travel is going to be changing, and that is under the domain of Pluto in Aquarius. Now, we also have big changes happening in the big tech companies as they continue on with their integration of artificial intelligence technologies. And we're also looking at the effectiveness and role of social media. What is happening in social media that is working, that is failing? What is going on with all the data? Because even though these platforms are free, quote unquote, to use, what you are providing in exchange for access to the platform is your data. And so where is all that data going? How is it being sold or reused? How is it making the stock market happy? What is going on with social media? We've also been seeing, at least in the US, that TikTok has been under scrutiny, potentially banned, and that is an ongoing legal issue. But there's more than meets the eye there. And that's also a Pluto realm where it appears to be one thing, but it's really so much more under the surface. We are now surrounded by more types of technology than we ever have been before. Not only what is circling the globe, including what is not disclosed, meaning the new satellites, the tracking measures, what's happening above our heads that's been undisclosed and confidential, but is still swirling around us nonetheless, and how those energies affect us. So I see too how a lot of those technologies can be for various forms of research, experiments. A lot of testing is being done, especially over the oceans. Of course, a lot happening with drones, radar, and for various departments of defense, which have new weapons that they are testing and using that happen from space. All of this is a part of Pluto in Aquarius as well. Lots of weather experiments going on, lots of things happening to look at what are the effects on our natural world. And so there's many artificial influences at play that unfortunately affect very primal beings, affect animals and their migration patterns, as well as their habits and what they feel and sense that's going on and shifting permanently on the planet. Another area that Pluto in Aquarius will be deeply and permanently changing relates to communities, group events, things where people gather, whether that's for concerts, sporting events, entertainment. Any collective areas are going to be undergoing a very big change here with Pluto in Aquarius, especially as these technologies come on board. And so think about how you enter into a space and then there's a lot of data collected. There's a lot going on that's tracking you or that is aware of what's happening. They're collecting a lot of information, which is Aquarius, through multiple systems, multiple things that have been implemented either to watch you or to understand what you're doing. And then that can be monetized. That is put into something that we don't always see or know about. And that's part of these new technologies being used all over the planet, and especially through technology companies who are selling these new technologies to various companies, institutions, and businesses for various means. And this can be quite secretive. This can be something that's undisclosed, or if it is disclosed, it's in the incredibly long terms and conditions or legal contract that we just scroll through, click the button to get to the service. So there's a lot going on that is happening and changing these environments into very new experiences. And we're going to continue to see that. I'm feeling like there's actually a lot of frequencies being emitted in group environments and group spaces that affect people, that affect mental health, that affect your energy, that might affect even your thoughts, emotions, your fear body. I'm seeing that there are spaces that are conducting tests on groups of people who come in for one experience without realizing that they are basically the rats in the lab that are being tested for other energies. There are very, very advanced energies right now that are not being disclosed, that people have no concept of, and that are being tested on us as a collective. And again, I see this in group environments, group spaces, sort of like you pay for a ticket to go have an experience and you're unaware that you're being tested on. And then you come out of the experience and your energy feels off, or you're having different thoughts, or you're feeling weird and you don't know why. This would mostly affect those who are energetically sensitive and aware of this. This also has an effect on you depending on the alcohol you consume, the drugs you take. If you're under the influence of anything, that would play a part in what you're feeling or sensing. But just know that there are collective environments that are more than what they seem. They're more than just one experience that you think you're paying for. There's other things going on that are working with your energy and your frequency, and it would be something to stay mindful of. Where you go have an experience, you go to a show, you go to a gathering, you go do something, and the next day just check in with yourself and see, how am I feeling? Did that feel off? Did that feel weird? What was going on there that was working with me? Because it's working with us in ways that we're not aware of, since these are such advanced technologies. They might even seem or sound unbelievable, but that's where we're at. There's a lot that's much further ahead than is being publicly disclosed. And I'm seeing it as a re-engineering. It can re-engineer parts of your energy and your frequency. And I'm really seeing it focused on the mind and what we perceive, what we take in, what you're looking at. You could think you're looking at one thing, but you're actually picking up so much more that you don't perceive or understand in the moment. Another Pluto in Aquarius theme will continue to evolve around science, scientific discoveries and data, what is truly happening and impacting our natural biology, what is affecting our DNA, how our DNA is receiving a lot of influences, both artificial and natural, that are shifting it. And what is that bringing up in us, even at a rather quieter level, where you don't know it at first, you don't sense it at first, and then something feels very different. I think this is actually going to be more of a long-term effect that is going to play out over the next few decades, but you could start to sense it now or see it now. Of course, there is a lot in the science of our times around how the human body has been negatively impacted by artificial means and what's that's doing. So with the Pluto in Aquarius themes, you could have some shifts in your lifestyle that return you to a more healthy state, a big simplification, if you will, in what you thought you needed, in what we're surrounded by. Of course, we know that a lot is processed food. It's artificial. It's grown in labs. It's not natural. And so what impact is that having on us at all levels of our being? And there could be choices being made to be more simple, to be more natural and organic, and to be more intentional around that. And this doesn't only apply to humans, this applies to animals who are being injected with hormones and with artificial substances, animals who are receiving these various tests and experiments against their sovereign will. And what are the ramifications of that? How does it affect their DNA as well as their breeding and growth, and what that means for their future as a population? So Pluto in Aquarius is bringing more of these kinds of scientific experiments and interactions to the forefront and wanting us to assess what feels correct for us. Because part of Pluto in Aquarius is that it is too heavily focused on the outcome, on the mind, on the linear process, and it removes the feelings or perhaps even what is good at a primal level. So we could have some deep internal struggles and tension going on around these new technologies or new things that are available to us. But is it aligning with what you believe is true and correct for you? And that could be part of the internal dance here, is looking at, okay, this makes my life more convenient, or this is cheaper at the store, but is it morally and ethically correct for me? Is it still something that I want to choose? And these could be some of the newer issues that Pluto in Aquarius is bringing up for us, both individually and collectively. We can also look at how Pluto in Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is currently in Taurus, shaking up consumerism, money, finances, what you invest in. We're seeing it through inflation. We're seeing it through what we value and how Uranus is changing our collective values and bringing up more for us to consider around what stays and what goes. So when we have this Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, as well as Uranus in Taurus, it's really bringing alive, what do I want to invest in for the future? And your answers might surprise you, where you might think, oh, I always wanted this thing or this direction. I thought I always wanted my life to look like this. And now you might do a 180, or there could be a very unexpected change that actually alleviates you, where you feel the burden is lessened, meaning you don't feel like you have to stick with something if it isn't truly what you want for the long term. This is where people will make more shocking statements and declare what they want and don't want in their life, because perhaps something has ran its course. Perhaps it's someone who owns a business and they are realizing, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to deal with all this anymore. I'm going to sell this. This could be realizing this isn't the life I want for myself or for my kids or my family anymore. I want something simpler. I want something that doesn't require so much from me. I think this Pluto in Aquarius is taking us to new edges of ourselves, new edges of what do I want my modern lifestyle to look like? And how do I create that? How do I change that? What needs to shift and change? And you could be feeling that energy rising up, pulsing through you. And then there could also be a sense of, but I'm stuck here, or I have to see this through, or I have to maintain this paycheck. Both Uranus and Pluto in fixed signs means that there are certain things that don't always change smoothly or easily, but they could change quickly. And what I mean by that is both these energies of Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus can have those unexpected, fast-moving developments that seem to happen overnight, and all of a sudden the lay of the land looks different, where something unexpected becomes the catalyst for mammoth change. I feel it as this hurry up and wait, and then all of a sudden there's a new opening, a new opportunity. And you could feel that. You could feel like you have anticipation and readiness for the next thing, the next change, the next part of your life. You just don't know when it's going to occur. And that's part of how these outer planets in the fixed signs work, is that you do have to hold something down. You have to not only wait, but find a way to stabilize yourself as change occurs. And then it's sort of like your number is called. I'm getting the visual of being at the DMV, which here in the US, that's the Department of Motor Vehicles. And you have to pull a ticket with a number on it, and you're waiting and waiting until your number comes up on the screen, meaning there's someone available to help you. But you don't know how long you could be waiting. You don't know how many people are in front of you. You don't know how fast the line's gonna go. And then all of a sudden your number is called. It's kind of like, don't leave, because your number could be called if you step out the door for even 5 minutes. That's what I'm feeling with this energy of both Pluto and Uranus in fixed signs, is that our energy is feeling these big, significant changes, and yet we can only do so much while we're waiting for other things to occur and to line up. Pluto retrograde is bringing you back to something in Capricorn that you need to finish up. But then when it re-enters Aquarius on November 22nd, it stays in Aquarius until 2044, and the energy takes off, and it could feel like it never stops. There's a relentless pace with where we're going, what's accelerating, what's coming through, what's opening up. And so this retrograde could give you an opportunity to get much clearer in not only what is true for you now in your life, in your world, even what is surprising you in your visions, in your openings, what's basically blossoming for you rather quickly that maybe you never thought you wanted, you never thought would happen, you never thought would change. And that's basically this energy signature is expect the unexpected. People are going to surprise you. People are going to change. People are going to have some very fascinating transformations and developments. There are going to be energies that seem to come online really quickly, even during the retrograde. And that's because this gives us an opportunity to pull those energies into the present moment and to be conscious of our options, intentions, possibilities. I'm seeing a lot swirling around in the crown chakra and into the third eye chakra, where it just looks like it's becoming so much bigger than we've ever experienced before. And that's because of this new evolutionary chapter that humanity is in. But going back to the pacing part of it, there's only so much that our energy systems can integrate at one time. There's only so much we can take in. Think about watering a plant. If you overwater the plant, it's just swimming in excessive water because it can only absorb so much so fast. And where we're going with these energies in the next number of years especially, it's very hard to fathom because they are so dynamic and fast moving that something about this particular Pluto retrograde wants you to understand what is permanently closing for you, what you've declared is done. You don't want it on your journey. It's no longer a part of your energy or your consciousness. You're shifting it deeply and permanently within your being, and this takes time. And so the Pluto retrograde could be giving you that time for this deeper internal work that you're being presented with. The universe is giving us assignments here to review certain things, to understand what we're capable of, and to also honor that not everything is meant to go forward with us. And so what are you choosing? What are you choosing from a place of empowerment, from a place of your own sovereign authority? What are you choosing because you've realized how much you've grown and changed, and you have some new openings here that you would rather move towards? I'm just feeling surprise. And I don't know if that's in the collective or in the individual. But again, this energy is, I never thought I would choose that. I never thought I would want that. But this is where I want to go. This is what is opening up to me. This is what matters to me now because of how much you've changed already. And understanding that that's part of this Pluto retrograde from May until October. So there's going to be things here that will surprise you, especially with the quickness of your own realization, the quickness of your own insight or change of heart, change of mind, change of direction. Change is coming up, and it's affecting your life path and your life trajectory. It's also beautiful confirmation of what you've healed, what you've moved through, what you've realized. It's interesting because I'm feeling like when I'm looking at an aura, I'm feeling that there are energies falling away. Like they've been exfoliated, they're being pushed out, they're kind of more debris. They're not in alignment with the new that has been pulsing through. And so I'm feeling like we're getting rid of parts of ourselves that we have outgrown, that we have fully used, if you will. It's sort of like there's nothing left in this battery. I don't need it anymore. It has that energy of, I'm done with this and I don't need it at all. And that's part of what is falling away here. And so let this Pluto retrograde exfoliate you, allow yourself to purge and remove what you have honestly and fully completed for your highest and best good. And know that this is about very dynamic change. I'm seeing like shocking retirements, unexpected announcements, people declaring things and speaking up or doing something completely off the wall. And it is a beautiful demonstration of what they're being called to next. So if you're feeling this for yourself, just know that it's right on time. And there's something here that you can beautifully trust about what is awaiting you on the other side of these strong Pluto energies. And this is a topic that I will keep discussing in the Wednesday podcast episodes. So please be sure to join me for those. Also, please check out the 2024 Soul Growth Astrology program, where I share with you even more about these Pluto in Aquarius energies and what is happening for you, especially in the Aquarius areas of your chart, where there is something much deeper happening that's expanding you, and it's beautifully right on time, even if it's wild, wacky, and crazy, and not something you ever thought would transpire in this lifetime. So if you have purchased that program, be sure to log back in. And if you would like to join us in the program, the idea is for you to bring your astrology chart and follow along as I guide you through the main astrology of the year, including Pluto in Aquarius and what is awaiting us in these new themes and cycles. I will put the link below the podcast episode for you to check it out, as well as the coupon code 2024, so you can get it for only $33. I do have a separate podcast episode for you discussing how these are the crossover years of Pluto in Capricorn and Pluto in Aquarius. So please listen to that if you would like more insights into what is dramatically changing here on our very special little green and blue marble of a planet. I will be back every Monday and Wednesday with a new podcast episode. Thank you so much for joining me. You can find all of my latest astrology courses and offerings at mollymccord.online. And I look forward to connecting with you again soon, hoping that you have a very beautiful and empowering Pluto retrograde experience.